Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We are moving from, well, absolute existential climax to something entirely new in Oliver's album, A Night on the Earth.
Yeah, quite a shift.
We're tackling track 10, You're My Home. And this track, it represents perhaps the most dramatic, conceptual, emotional pivot the album has demanded from us so far.
It's a huge leap, definitely.
Mhm.
And to really get it, I think we have to look one last time at those final moments of track 9,
Yeah.
I Don't Want to Die Tonight.
Okay.
You have to remember, the previous track ended with the narrator facing immediate, brutal external death.
Yeah.
The ultimate terrifying certainty.
Right. The world was literally ending for him on a dangerous street corner. But in that sheer desperation, he found what he called a final, visceral, unquestionable love in his partner's arms.
And the song concludes with him saying, I just died, baby, tonight in your arms.
That was it, the end, and that moment of clarity. It was the resolution, wasn't it? To that philosophical paralysis of life and lies, that whole state of cynical, existential stuckness.
Exactly, because connection proved real, even when everything else, the whole universe seemed to fail him.
So the death in track 9, we have to see it as the death of the old self.
I think so, yeah. The
It's-
passive, skeptical, waiting victim self. The one who allowed himself to be betrayed and kind of constrained by everything. By accepting that final connection, even right there in that moment of terminal certainty, he conquered the nihilism that had really defined his character through those middle tracks.
Okay, so here is the immediate challenge then, the narrative paradox that track 10 throws at us.
Yeah.
We have this cynical character who, for all intents and purposes, just literally died. And now he suddenly reemerges to sing this powerful, committed rock ballad about finding home and, like, long-term stability.
It sounds jarring, I know.
Are we supposed to just believe Oliver walked that back, called it a, I don't know, a psychological reset and moved on?
Well, I don't think it's cheap. I think it's actually a really necessary narrative move to propel the story forward. We have to see this shift as a radical, dramatic rebirth. A rebirth, okay.
Track 9 gave us the absolute certainty of love, but in extremis, right? In the worst possible moment.
Right.
So track 10, You're My Home, it has to deal with the aftermath of finally knowing that. The focus shifts entirely.
From what to what?
From fighting those immediate external threats, violence, betrayal, the city, to fighting the long-term and maybe far more challenging internal threat. The struggle required for, committed survival in a relationship.
Ah, okay. So the high stakes haven't vanished. They've just moved indoors, so to speak.
Exactly. He's traded that final terminal certainty of death for the complex, challenging certainty of trying to maintain a difficult partnership.
Makes sense. The external chaos, the city of death we've seen glimpses of, it's now secondary.
Pretty much. His greatest enemy now is the self-destructive chaos inside his own head, which threatens to undermine the very stability he just somehow achieved.
So our mission in this deep dive then,
Yeah.
it's really to unpack how Oliver uses You're My Home, this powerful rock ballad written back in 1997.
How he uses it to define stability, but not as like a prize he won for surviving everything,
No, not a reward at all.
but as this grueling ongoing struggle against self-sabotage, even after he's achieved this definitive, mutual, unquestionable love.
Yeah. This is a song about commitment being hard, like continuous hard work.
Okay. And if we're talking about high-stakes work, the whole architecture of this track, the sound of it, tells us a lot about the nature of that struggle.
Absolutely. It's labeled a powerful rock ballad.
Which suggests, a return to volume, determination, assertion. We're hearing the sound of commitment declared loudly.
We've definitely moved back to the amplified sound.
Yeah.
It's a big step away from the raw acoustic country feel of track 9.
Yeah.
And this return to assertive rock energy, it's crucial. It's the narrator declaring his fixed intent, his determination to commit. It's a declarative genre, really, for a declarative emotion.
There's a catch in the composition, isn't there? Something that throws a subtle, maybe not so subtle, wrench into that pure declaration.
There is. The sources note a critical technical detail.
The time signature.
Exactly. The song is written in 68 time signature. Now, for listeners maybe not deep into music theory, this is where the track gets really interesting. Because it juxtaposes that rock power with something heavier.
Okay, so talk us through that. What's the tension there? The rock sound suggests power, drive.
Propulsion, yeah. Forward momentum. The forward march of commitment, you could say.
But 68, what does that do? You said it's often linked to blues, laments.
Well, yeah. Especially when it's played with this kind of weight. It often gives you a deep, swaying, almost trudging feel. It creates a specific type of weight and insistence.
How so? Compared to like a standard 44 rock beat?
Well, unlike that straightforward, even Pulsar 4468 is organized into two big beats, right?
Yeah.
And each of those big beats gets subdivided into three smaller ones. Think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, I can feel that kind of rocking motion.
Yeah, and the emphasis often falls really heavily on that first and fourth beat. So it creates this deep, insistent, almost cyclical marching feel. It feels less like you're sprinting toward a goal.
And more like, we're...
More like a determined, maybe even exhausting, trudge through something difficult.
Ah, okay. So you get the sonic power, the volume, the presence of the rock instruments, but they're forced to move in this slow, heavy, persistent, almost weary rhythm.
That's a great way to put it. The engine is powerful, but the road is thick mud.
Wow.
The music itself perfectly mirrors the lyrical theme. Finding home is exhilarating, it's powerful, sure, but maintaining it, that requires persistent, heavy effort, the hard trudge of fighting his own destructive patterns day after day.
So it is the sound of the work required for stability. It's not a celebration of arrival.
Not at all. It's a commitment to the grinding journey. And the journey is heavy. The internal fight is clearly still very much ongoing.
Okay, so the music gives us the structure of that struggle. The lyrics then must give us the raw confession, right? And the definition of this hard-won anchor. Let's look at stanza 1. How does he define his partner here?
Well, right away, he connects her presence to this necessary stabilization. But he frames it, interestingly, in terms of his own potential demise.
He sings, "I'm gonna die. I've just looked in your eyes. I can see who you are. You're the moon in my night."
See, the threat of death is still there, but it's internalized now. It's tied to her gaze. And her gaze, ironically maybe, offers clarity, truth. I can see who you are.
She becomes the truth teller then, the unwavering force, contrasting with all the paranoia and deceit he felt before.
Absolutely. She's the antidote to the philosophical mess of life and lies. And notice how quickly he defines her role. It's not just passive recipient of his love.
No.
No, she's defined as a stabilizing force against himself.
Ah, right. He sings, "You're the one thing I need when I'm going too fast."
And that is a foundational admission right there. It confirms the narrator's natural state. His inherent tendency is towards chaos, speed, recklessness, self-destruction.
He needs an external anchor, something to stop him from just spinning out into the void.
Exactly. It immediately links this commitment back to that sheer survival instinct we saw in track 9. She's not just his love interest, she's his personal gravity well.
A necessary constraint keeping him tethered to reality. Wow.
And this sense of certainty, this grounded feeling she provides, it actually transcends the external world entirely. Stanza 3 takes this idea almost to a cosmic scale.
Providing a definitive counter-argument to all that existential despair he voiced earlier.
Precisely. He sings, "I really don't know when the sky's gonna fall. When the night will be day, will the rain become snow?"
That's pure cosmic universal uncertainty. He's stating flat out, the external world is fundamentally chaotic, unpredictable, potentially dangerous. End of story.
But the resolution, it remains grounded solely in the relationship. But I know how I feel, oh baby, you're my home.
Home isn't a place.
Not a physical location, no. Not a safe geographical zone. It's an emotional certainty that exists entirely outside the framework of universal chaos. It's the unwavering core, even when the sky is falling.
So the relationship is the one thing he knows. The single stable point in a universe defined by total unpredictability.
It becomes his fundamental, absolute reality.
Okay, so he's found the anchor. It's cosmically certain. He feels it. But the song is called "You're My Home," not, I'm fixed now.
Right. Good point.
And here's where this deep dive gets really fascinating for me. Because the second stanza immediately flips the entire emotional dynamic of the album up to this point.
It's a massive critical shift. A huge one.
We've spent most of the album think about, yes, I know, 3 million miles, you lost my love, seeing the narrator as the one betrayed, the victim, suffering the consequences of her actions or the world's actions.
Yeah, he's been on the receiving end.
But in stanza 2 of this song, the narrator takes this wrenching ownership of destructive behavior. He sings, "I can see you have cried. Yeah, I've hurt you again. Don't believe in my words. They're just lies that I say."
Devastating, isn't it? And radically honest. The narrator is now the admitted liar. He completely reverses that dynamic.
He acknowledges his own destructive behavior, the lies, the pain he causes, and the fact that his actions are hurting the very person who is his stability.
And the conflict isn't that he doesn't love her. That seems clear. The conflict is entirely internal.
between his destructive actions and his deepest feelings.
Exactly. He
Yeah.
says, maybe this isn't true. Well, God knows how I feel. So his words and actions are these self-sabotaging lies, but they contradict the deep, true feeling of love that he feels God knows.
So why the disconnect? Why is he doing this?
Well, the conflict seems to lie in his inability to align his behavior with his commitment. He's knowingly hurting her because his own internal chaos just manifests outwardly as deception. It spills out.
In stanza 4, it gives us the specifics, doesn't it? The concrete obstacle preventing the stability from actually working. It gives the literal reason the relationship is still such a struggle.
It does. Well, I'm just a fool. I've been drinking again.
There it is.
The drinking. It reveals the cyclical destructive habit. This isn't just some vague character flaw or existential angst anymore.
No, it's specific.
It's a specific, repeated act that undercuts his commitment, causes the lies he just mentioned, and fuels the self-destruction, which in turn causes the hurt we heard about in the previous stanza.
It grounds all that abstract internal chaos in a very tangible, real-world obstacle. Makes perfect sense.
But then the very next image. This might be the most powerful, most insightful moment of self-analysis on the whole album. It moves beyond just confessing the habit.
To the root motivation?
Yeah. Putting chains on my soul so it won't run away.
Wow. Okay, we need to spend a second on that metaphor. Chains on my soul.
If you connect this to the bigger picture of the album, this is self-imprisonment, but used as this radical, desperate defense mechanism.
The soul, his instinctual, chaotic, running self, that's the danger.
It seems so. He recognizes his natural state is probably to run from commitment, to flee stability. Maybe because, for him, stability has always preceded betrayal in the past, you know.
It makes sense given his history on the album.
So the only way he sees to safeguard this precious home he's found is to actively restrain his own chaotic inner core, put chains on it.
Think about that reversal. Earlier in the album, he was lamenting being trapped by external things.
Right.
Now, the commitment he cherishes is so vital for his survival that he has to actively use this massive, uncomfortable effort, those chains, just to stay put.
He is choosing to be stuck at home rather than being free in chaos. It's a conscious choice.
Commitment through radical self-limitation. The chains aren't punishment, they're preventative. He's treating the relationship like a high-security container for his own self-destructive nature.
And that struggle, you can imagine, is exhausting. Which brings us right back to that heavy 68 rhythmic weight we talked about.
Yeah.
He concludes the stanza by describing the cyclical nature of this endless, frustrating search. Well, I guess it's just me running inside my veins searching home now.
So even when he's externally stable, anchored, committed, the internal running just continues relentlessly.
It seems like it. Stability, in this context, is not restful. It's an exhausting, perpetual internal search against his own instincts.
Yeah.
It turns the very anchor he's found into this exhausting battleground inside himself.
That internal trudge, that running, it has to lead to a breaking point eventually, right?
Yeah.
A crisis moment where the chains maybe slip and the speed takes over again.
And that's exactly what we get in stanza 5. It's the moment of freefall, the emotional climax of this internal conflict.
It's the psychological equivalent of the physical danger he faced back in track 9. But this threat is entirely self-inflicted.
Right, he sings. So I'm going down, oh, I'm falling so fast.
This is him acknowledging that his self-destructive habits, the lies, the drinking, the running inside they've taken over, the chaos he tried to chain up is winning. He's losing functional control.
And in that moment, that acute psychological crisis, he delivers this explicit, desperate plea for intervention.
Will you catch me tonight? Will you make me go back?
He admits, clearly, without any reservation, that he cannot stop his own destructive trajectory. He is incapable of self-rescue.
That level of dependency is profound, especially for this character we followed, who spent so much of the album trying to maintain this cynical, independent front.
It really is. It's a moment of total collapse, total vulnerability. He's completely outsourcing his recovery, his healing, to his partner, asking her to become his external guide, as a rescuer.
It really challenges that traditional stoic rock persona, doesn't it? He's basically saying, my own willpower fails when I descend this far. You have to become my external will and force me back onto the path.
And this is where the track forces us, you listening, to really consider the nature of stability after trauma.
Yeah.
Is it even possible to heal from these deep-seated self-destructive patterns, like the drinking, the lying he admits to, without relying completely, at least sometimes, on a trusted external force to make you go back?
He's asking her to exert control over him because his internal ability to control himself has just vanished in that moment.
And the worst part, maybe, is the resulting loss of his internal compass. He says, to find me again, and to see where you are. Where's my home now?
So when he loses control, when he spirals down, he simultaneously loses the coordinates of his anchor. He becomes directionless again.
He goes right back to those themes of being lost in hell from track 4. That feeling of profound spiritual mental disorientation.
For him, losing control means instantly losing his identity and his location within the world. The stability she provides isn't just emotional comfort.
No, it's much more fundamental. It's the existential framework for his entire reality. Without it, he doesn't know where he is.
The strength of the bond is undeniable, obviously, but the profound dependency it reveals is so central to the song's meaning. He needs her not just to exist, but to know where he exists.
Absolutely.
So, okay. He spent most of the song acknowledging his chaos, confessing his lies, pleading for his partner to basically rescue him from himself. How does he get from that state, that dependency and pleading, to a grounded, definitive resolution? How does the song end?
Well, the resolution to stanza 7, it pivots entirely. He moves away from demanding certainty from her, which is what he did in earlier tracks, remember?
Right, like in Tell Me Why.
Exactly. Here, he shifts to offering his own commitment. And it's based now on this brutal self-awareness he's gained through the song.
It's a crucial move, then, towards reclaiming some agency, even within that context of dependency he just admitted.
I think so. He grounds himself firmly in the present moment, finally stopping that frantic internal running. He sings, well, I'm here tonight and I won't run away. I can promise you that. I have made my mistakes.
That sounds like the commitment finally sticking, like he means it this time.
It feels like a huge development for his character.
Yeah.
He's not waiting for her answers to make him live again like we heard before. Here, he's offering his certainty.
Okay.
He's owning his past failures, yes, but he's promising future dedication. The dedication to maybe keep those chains on metaphorically, to keep fighting that internal trudge.
And the final clarity he seems to achieve, it's rooted in that self-knowledge.
It seems to be, now I know where's my place, and I know who you are, you're my home. Knowing his own place, understanding his faults, his need for an anchor, and crucially, his decision to actively commit, seems to be what finally allows this stability to become fixed, to feel real.
It's the difference between just finding the right partner
and finding his right place with that partner. The home is found not just in her, but in his conscious, difficult choice to stop running, to stay.
And the song closes with that powerful, assertive repetition in the outro, you're my home now, you're my home.
Yeah, and that powerful rock ballad sound really gives this final declaration the weight it needs. It feels like this sense of stability is definitive, it's earned, but it has to be continually affirmed against that lingering self-destructive chaos he knows is still inside him.
It's the sound of the narrator saying, I have chosen stability and I will choose it again and again over my ingrained tendency toward chaos.
Exactly. This successful, although clearly painful, transition from the old cynical self to a new self, one defined by vulnerability, honesty, and committed love, that feels like the track's real triumph.
Okay. This deep dive into You're My Home really does showcase that the relationship's main obstacle isn't external anymore. It's the narrator's own internal chaos, the drinking, the running, the lying.
And he explicitly asks his partner to catch me and make me go back. That plea is central.
Which leaves us with a pretty profound question for you, the listener, to think about, especially given the degree of his dependency we just talked about.
Yeah. Does stability, particularly after profound trauma and facing severe self-destructive tendencies, does it sometimes require a measure of this kind of outsourcing, this dependency?
Is it genuinely possible to find and maintain home without, at least temporarily, relying entirely on the one person who provides certainty, even if that means risking some self-agency in the process?
Or does his final fierce promise, I won't run away, does that signify a hard-won, true independence after all?
An independence built not on solitary retreat, maybe, but on the foundation of committed vulnerability, knowing he has someone there who will, and maybe must, anchor him when he falters.
That tension right there between dependency and independence is what makes this track so incredibly rich, I think.
It definitely wraps up one of the most intense internal chapters on A Night on the Earth. But the album is far from finished. And Oliver, well, he's about to take us on yet another sharp turn that kind of challenges everything we just heard.
Yeah, we shift dramatically again from this heavy, committed 68 rock ballad straight into track 11. And the title is How to Buy Love.
And notice the genre listed for that one? Reggae.
Reggae.
That's a truly philosophical shift, isn't it? After such a raw, committed, non-transactional declaration of love and finding home in You're My Home, we immediately confront this question of, well, monetizing or transactionalizing love.
And set to the rhythmic buoyancy of reggae, no less.
The contrast is striking between the overtly cynical transactional title and the usually more relaxed, buoyant genre.
It feels highly intentional. Is the narrator immediately retreating back into cynical questioning about relationships? Or is the light, buoyant style maybe a way to confront those old fears about transactional relationships with a sense of distance now? Maybe even a touch of, I don't know, ironic humor.
That is the puzzle waiting for us next time. We will dive into how Oliver uses that reggae style, its rhythmic feel, to address cynicism and the notion of purchasing affection right after finding the unquestionable love of his home.
Sounds fascinating. So join us then as we continue exploring the complex architecture and the evolving narrative of A Night on the Earth.
Until then, keep digging.